101.
Amen.
138 in the red.
Maybe they forgot how this works.
We sing a song. One of you picks a song. I decided I can sing that song. We sing that song. Okay. Turn to 194 in the blue. 194. 150.
going to look to the Lord in a word of prayer. Sister Andrew, would you please that prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for letting us get worship you today, Lord. Just pray that we each and every one take so that, Lord, and just been able to draw closer to you and get to do what you have us to, Lord. And just pray that I'll be able to be a better witness in my daily life. Please forgive me of my sins, Lord, and help me to be a light for you, Lord, and just pray that we'll be able to look into your word and see what you have for us, and that this body will continue to grow, Lord, and remember, but Lord, also each and every one of us closer to you, and if you have the sick ones, Lord, that you live in them, and I'll pray the best we can, have your hand in them, please forgive me for sins, just let me pray, amen.
Amen. Let's open our Bibles to Luke, the 6th chapter. We're going to do something different than the Acts chapter 10 study, so we have another week at least on that. Luke chapter 6. And so we'll look at verse, let's start in 27. And so we're going to be going to 38, and so let's go ahead and read that first, and we'll go back and work our way to it again. So 38 is, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet, withal it shall be measured to you again." So we're going to look at proper giving to the Lord. And so it involves all kinds of giving. And as we know, there's giving of time, there's giving of effort, there's prayers. This will probably be more along the lines of the physical. Giving of offerings, giving of belongings. And so giving to the Lord, but giving to the church. And so the proper way of giving to the church, and that's exactly what it is. It's giving to the Lord. And that seems like maybe an obvious factor, but it's not always. It's sometimes it's a distinction I think needs to be made. Something I've been thinking about for a little while here. Luke 6:38 is one of the verses that we typically go to, and we'll see a few of the others that are common when we talk about offerings and giving. But I want us to think about it from that, not just the command perspective, but what it is really for is giving to the Lord. And there's some things about giving ourselves to the Lord that when we give of ourselves, our time, our effort, our affection, our prayers, when we give to the Lord, there's some aspects of that the Bible teaches that are supposed to be the same when we give something physical. But it's not always. Sometimes it's viewed differently. But really, it should all be viewed as, I'm giving it to the Lord. And when we give something to the Lord as far as like a burden, right? Like something that's on our shoulder, something we're carrying, we obviously know, when we talk about it a lot, it's foolish. You're really not giving it to the Lord unless you're letting go of it. Well, the same thing applies to the physical, the material, financial. Giving to the Lord, giving to Him through the local church, you let go of it. That's part of the distinction. It makes it easy. The Lord is great at doing this, making things patterns, making things easy. It's not supposed to be viewed any differently. And so, give and it shall be given unto you. So now let's go back to 27 and work back to that. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. And unto him that smiteth thee on the one cheek, and offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also. Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. Or if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. So there's a few other things talked about in this passage, and we could, each of those has their own teaching, their own lesson to take from that, or multiple lessons even. I guess he kind of gets onto it. He touches on it several times through the whole passage, is why I wanted to read the whole thing. There's a sense in several verses, 29, 30, 32, 33, 34, and so on. He touches on this concept of when you do something for someone else, you do it for, and really what it should be is you do it unto the Lord. You do it for the other person, for the other party, and it may be for the church. It may be something that's donated to the church. It may be something you do to further the work of the church, but you do it to the Lord. And so when you do it to the Lord, you give it to Him. You're done with it at that point. You've now let go of it. It's not yours to control. It's not yours to rule. You don't have any more aspect of control over that. Now that it's the church's, it's not up to anyone what to do with it. It's up to the church. And when we do that, when we're giving, whether it be to the church, whether it be to an individual, doing something for an individual, because they're brethren, because it's in the Lord, and we're doing it to the Lord, then we're supposed to do it as if we're never going to see it again. That's what he said, right? You're not hoping to receive. Well, if you're not hoping to receive, then what'd you do? You laid it down and you walked away, and it's gone. You don't care anymore because you did the thing, you gave it to the Lord, you did what was needed, and you did it hopefully with a pure heart and wanting to glorify the Lord by helping in this, whatever this need was. And so now you've relinquished it. In fact, we ought to be careful and go out of our way not to have a mind over it, and not to think about it, and not to let that weigh on us. And so we get then to verse 38. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, running over. What? Shall men give into your bosom? So what does that mean? Well, the Lord is going to cause blessings to come from wherever He wants them to come, to replenish to the degree He sees fit. May not be the same, may not be, it might be in a different way, it might be in abundance. But the Lord is the judge over that because we have let go. We have wanted the Lord to have His glory in it. It also goes back, like we read this morning, Ephesians 3:21. It's part of how we give glory to the Lord through His church. We give what we give for His honor and glory. And at that point, if we're giving, we talk about it all the time, more often with our service of the Lord. If we give our service of the Lord hoping to have man's praise, well, that's the same thing he's talking about. Just think of the material side of it. If we give to the Lord hoping for recognition, hoping for someone to notice, hoping for someone to give us some kind of accolade for it, then we're really not giving it to the Lord. And really, not only is God not going to bless back into our bosom like it says there, it's not for His honor and glory, then why do it? I mean, yes, we're commanded to give. We're commanded our tithes and our offerings, and as the Bible talks about, and to give, just as we do with all of our service to the Lord, out of love. He wants us to give of ourselves. He wants us to have that mindset. But we've got to understand it's supposed to always be to the Lord. Look at 1 Corinthians 16. 1 Corinthians 16, verses 1 and 2. It says, Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given order to the churches of Galatia, even so do ye. Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as God hath prospered him, that there be no gatherings when I come. Now, part of the God hath prospered statement has to do with the amount or how, what the person gives, but it's also the meaning. And again, I want to stress, it's a personal recognition of what God's done for me. That's how it's supposed to be given. As God hath prospered him. It's one of the ways that we personally respond to the Lord is by giving back to him. And through the local church, we give to the church, and we give for the church's work, for the church's endeavors. There may be a special offering taken up or something, so we want to give to that offering. But we've got to remember, now that we've given, let's say we have something set aside, we're giving to set aside for a specific purpose. When it comes time to make a decision about that purpose, we should not all of a sudden get more interested because we've been giving to, we thought that was a good idea. So we gave money to that purpose. And now because we gave money to that, we really feel like, well, I want to make sure I'm there. I want to make sure I have some input. That's not how it should be. The church should make decisions that are right and proper as good stewards. 1 Corinthians 4:2, and we should trust because and we should be wise, and we should do our part as a member of that local church to make wise decisions over that, but not because we have some vested interest in it. That's giving, hoping for something in return. That's giving and expecting some kind of control over, some kind of return on it. 2 Corinthians 9. The return on our investment is up to the Lord. And we're supposed to let go of that, right? We're not expecting a return on investment. That's not how it should be. 2 Corinthians 9. Verse 5, and we'll read through the end of the chapter. 6 and 7, again, are kind of the focus, but let's get some of the other around this. It says in verse 5, Therefore I thought it necessary to exhort the brethren that they would go before unto you, and make up beforehand your bounty, whereof ye had no notice before, that the same might be ready as a matter of bounty, and not as of covetousness. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. As it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, He hath given to the poor, His righteousness remaineth forever. Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both minister bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness, being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth through us thanksgiving to God. For the administration of this service not only supplieth the want of the saints, but is abundant also by many thanksgivings unto God. Whilst by the experiment of this ministration they glorify God for your professed subjection unto the gospel of Christ, and for your liberal distribution unto them and unto all men, and by their prayer for you, which long after you for the exceeding grace of God in you. Thanks be unto God for His unspeakable gift. Now, a lot of this is talking about, verse 1 says, touching the ministering to the saints, and, the letters being written to the church at Corinth, and some of it's having to do with the support of the ministry, like Paul was out in the ministry doing, which is the work of the gospel of Christ, kind of referred to there in verse 13, a few other times, supplying the want of the saints, and so on. And so, similarly, when supporting the work of the Lord, it's a spiritual work. We're to give, to support, and hopefully see spiritual results. And sometimes the function itself, the fund, the motion that's made, the project has no spiritual impact, but it is a part of the Lord's work. Anything that's a part of that Lord's work. And I will take it a step farther. Anything that we do for one another because of the Lord, we ought to give, not grudgingly or of necessity. God loveth a cheerful giver. How do we give? Verse 7 also, according as he purposeth in his heart. What is that? Again, that's the personal response to God. Not because it's needed, not because the church is endeavoring to do a project and money's going to pay for that project, and because there's a need. That obviously happens. That's a fact of life, a fact of function of the church, but we ought, and also not just because it's commanded. we're to obey the command because it's commanded, but also because we love the Lord. And so then when we give, it's partly because it's commanded, but it's also we're supposed to do it as we purpose in our heart. So we turn it around into a way to serve God with something physical, but we're to do so as a cheerful giver. And really, I was just thinking about this, and some of this, I wrote down some notes. I've already mentioned some of this. I'm trying not to repeat myself, but if you can't give it the way the Bible teaches, don't give it. God doesn't want it. He's not going to bless it. It's not going to produce the fruit. If you can't let go of it, if you can't get past it, if you can't give it away, don't give it. Yes, it's commanded, but it's also commanded to do it out of a heart of love, and it's commanded to do it not grudgingly or of necessity. If later you're going to want to pull the strings that you left attached and try to have some kind of control over it, then don't give it. The church doesn't need it. Your brethren don't need it. If you can't do something for a brother or sister in Christ and do it unto the Lord and give it to the Lord for them, then don't do it. Don't do it, because if there's something left in control, then it's really not for the Lord anyway. Let's not be in our imagination and fooling ourselves. Deuteronomy 15. We see under the law, there was a duty to care for the poor, but there was also, God would provide the means. And so again, giving has always been about trusting the Lord, doing it as unto Him. It's never just been the physical seeing the need, filling the need, seeing your brother has need, and it talks about, what is it, James maybe, and not filling that need, and you just, was it the statement, be ye warmed and filled, right? And so hope everything works out for you, No, well, God will help fill the need, but we have to trust Him. What we do to help fill the need should be that we trust the Lord to help to enable us to be a part of that, always with Him involved. And that's something that I fear sometimes gets missed. Deuteronomy 15, verse 7, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. Thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land. So just think about some of the way He instructed His people under the law. The care for the poor, it was upon the others, but there was still some, it wasn't just the physical care, see your brothers in need and give. It was as unto the Lord, because He talks about there not only not withholding, but when you give in thine heart, be not grieved when you give it unto Him. Well, what is that? That's talking about your heart. You're giving to the Lord. You're not letting. It's not just for the need. It's not just for the person, the thing, the church. No, you give it. That's the same thing as 2 Corinthians 9 there, not grudgingly or of necessity. And it said there, for the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works. As we talk about, not giving to receive a payback, even though we know the Lord is capable and maybe even in abundance, but we shouldn't give. We should give as if we're never going to see it again. We should give, and just then, yes, every member of the church, we have a responsibility to be to be wise and good stewards. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 6, in fact. I was thinking about this statement. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, except we can use it as a gauge. 1 Corinthians 6, some other issues were going on in the church at Corinth. Members going to law with one another. Look at verses 1 and 2 here. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints. So that has nothing to do with our topic. But now look at what he says about this that was going on in Corinth. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Managing the finances, yeah, it's an important part, but it's not. It's one of the smaller matters. I mean, this was even a bigger deal because this would affect fellowship between brethren and it's, financial and belongings and stuff. It's just stuff. It shouldn't ever enter in and become something like that. That's why, again, when you do it for the Lord. Now, I was thinking about different things. You may have something that you think the church could use, some item, or you want to buy something for the church, so you do it and you bring it and you give it to the church. And maybe it's just something that shows up mysteriously in the closet of supplies. Maybe it's something that because it needs some instruction, maybe it needs to be mentioned, maybe the person wants to remain unnamed. Sometimes that happens, and that's great because it shouldn't be that we're wanting the recognition and all of that. But maybe for some reason it has to be mentioned, and so people do know. But really, whether that happens or not, once it's given to the church, you should be done with it. And it shouldn't happen. But if it gets trashed, you shouldn't get your feelings hurt, because you gave it away. It shouldn't get trashed. It should be taken care of, but it's not your problem anymore. As a member of the body, you've got just as much responsibility as every other member, but no more to protect, to take care of, to be good stewards of, but no more, not because you gave it. See, that's the problem. We're still holding on. We want to have, we like the idea that we gave it. No, you give it and you let go. Now, again, it shouldn't just be treated that way. And sometimes, not only that, sometimes the Lord's churches get the hand-me-downs that half the time work. And, we think we did some great deed. We got the new thing and we gave our old thing that sometimes, smokes when it runs or something. But the church can use it. That shouldn't be the attitude either. But whatever it is, and there's some things, I was thinking about the chart on the wall back there. I made this clear. I didn't give that to the church. I thought it was beneficial if we put that up. We can use it for studies. In the hallway there, that timeline, that was something that I purchased for my own studies, but I don't have a good place to put it, and I thought it might be beneficial. I, at some point, intend to retrieve that. But if that was something I gave to the church, then I'm done with it. If I want one again, I'll go get another one. That's how it should be. It should be taken care of. I tried to mount it to the wall without puncturing a bunch of holes in it. But if that gets moved and someone remounts it and puts holes in it, I shouldn't get my feelings hurt. If it's something I gave to the Lord, right? If it's something I gave to the church. And even not, I shouldn't get my feelings hurt, because that shouldn't be how we function. But if we give something, now yes, be interested in taking care of it. We say we buy, we're gonna do this siding and stuff, and so maybe we know we're gonna give some money to help offset the cost or whatever. Well, I don't think anybody's really going to fall in love with a piece of siding and really care how it's treated. Maybe that will happen, but it tends to be other kinds of things. But there should never be that special care or really watching to see how other people treat it, or trying to limit, trying to control. Because if you gave it to the church, you should have given it to the Lord. You should have given it to Him. And when you give it to Him, you don't retain that interest. Look at Matthew chapter 6. We'll close here shortly. Matthew chapter 6. Verse 1 says, "Take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly." Well, what's he talking about in verse 3? Because I think typically the brain knows what each hand is doing, right? It's hard to not know. Well, it's the same teaching that we're talking about. Don't do it to be seen. Don't do it to be noticed. Don't do it to retain the value. Don't do it and don't monitor it. If you're going to give it, give it. That's the not grudgingly or of necessity. And if you're going to do it, if it's a gesture, do it. Don't expect a thank you. It's great if you get one. And on the other side of it, we should give it. We should give the thank you. But when we give, that's what it is to give. When you give it away, and you should know there's a risk you might not get a return. You might not get a thanks. You might not get the kind of affection that you think is appropriate for that gift. You know, I mean, we've all, Christmas and birthdays, we've all given and received gifts, and sometimes, we were expecting more when we opened that box, and sometimes the person that gave it was expecting a little bit more of a reaction. They thought, well, I put in a lot of time to figure out what would be a good gift, or I spent a lot of money on that, But then again, if it was truly given in a clean and a pure heart, don't get your feelings hurt. If you can't give to the Lord with that kind of heart, then don't give it. Because all it's going to end up doing is working in the reverse. And you're not going to be happy. The Lord's not going to bless the effort. But this is nothing new. This is how it's always been with all of the service we do for the Lord. Should never be for the return, what we're going to get out of it. Let's go ahead and stand. Any other word before we're dismissed? Go ahead and look toward word prayer, and as we do, Sister Myra, would you voice that prayer?
Continue with each and every one of them.